Welcome everyone. Personal protective equipment (PPE), as it is popularly known as, what are the advantages and the limitations thereof? So we'll discuss it. It's a topic with everyone. Why? Because of this ongoing, perhaps pandemic at certain part of the world right now. Probably, and it had a different catastrophic effect. We have lost millions of lives across the globe. So that is what we are looking to protect ourselves. Now, this is not only because of the pandemic that happens around it. There are many at times many objectives in the workplaces which are full of hazard. Now, this is what we need to take into consideration as to what exactly would be PPE. So, we remember what is PPE? PPE is a precautionary step to protect yourself from and the people around you. Definitely, yes. It's a specialized clothing or equipment worn to protect from dangerous and often infectious material. Now, we talk about the infectious material because of this pandemic that has come forwarded. And believe me or not, every medical professional has to wear the PPEs to protect himself or herself from such kind of bacteria, viruses, and so on and so forth. PPE, personal protective equipment, prevents contact from infectious agents by creating barriers between the potentially infectious material and public practitioner. So we'll talk about the purpose, the objective of PPE: stop the spread of illness. That's the one factor that comes around it. It is another barrier that has been included so as to limit the movement of the illness, virus, bacteria, and so on and so forth. Obviously, yes, this says as personal protection equipment would be to protect the health of the person. It is not only the individual that is wearing the PPE, but also the client's health, probably, and in the long process, their family's health and the society's health eventually. So it starts from an individual, it percolates to the clients, percolates to the family, and probably society at large, which we need to understand. Availability of PPE is all about gowns, aprons, shoe covers, hair covers, respiratory, masks, goggles, facial, gloves, you name it, and we have it. Is complete physical protection. Remember, we are not talking only of viruses and things like that. It can be sharp objects, it can be high temperature, it can be fire, it can be anything. You should be having your PPE or personal protection equipment available all the time within the premise organization. The gadgets we are talking around here uh, the gadgets that comes around is in the form of mask. Now there are several types of masks to prevent the spread of infectious disease. Definitely, yes. We've got three layers for masks. We have N95. We have different kind of micron that stays around it. They vary in shape, be it rectangular, be it round. Also probably in terms of securing the marks, in terms of elasticities and ties and so on and so forth. No, the masks are not the respirators. These are just a prevention or filtering agent from airborne transmitted diseases. Just drop. Remember. So goggles are the facial protects the mucous membranes of the eyes getting exposed, nose, mouth during situation where there might be spillage of body fluid, secretion or excretion may splash out, may spray. So this needs to be done, and goggles becomes a very good effective PPE material out there. Eyeglass is one thing that needs to be taken care of all the time. Goggles cover the top, front, sides of the eye area, providing absolute protection from splashes and sprays, probably which eyeglasses do not. Some brand of goggles can be decontaminated and reused time and again. This is what we have to talk about it every now and then, and we should always take precautions appropriate. So gloves, it is important to select the right size. If we are wearing a bigger size, it doesn't serves the purpose or altogether. It should be tightly fitting to your hand, providing proper protection from infectious agent. Remember, a change of gloves becomes a necessity if it is torn or heavily contaminated, or you've been wearing it for a number of times. Uh, it is always better that you do not reuse those gloves. Gloves are not a substitute for hand hygiene. that needs to be taken care. Then we're talking about the respirators. Several types of respirator can be worn. We have been saying about N95, right? N100, oval, round, various size and shape that comes around it. The protection that goes around. Unlike mask, respirator must be tested before use to ensure it is properly fitted. Fit testing is a procedure to check whether the mask covers your face, covers your covers the organs completely and seals it off. Involve testing that there are no absolute leakages in the mask and the face. Using respirator that has not been fit tested from your face provides only droplet based transmission. This is of an utmost. So, how do you go about it? How do you wear the PPE or personal protection equipment? As per the CDC guidance, PPE should be done in the following order. Now, what is the requirement to go around it? First and foremost, you should be going for the gown. Now, what is gown that comes around it? The apron, the coverall, it is the whole from head to toe. The body should be covered all together. The shoes, the hair. We are talking about everything: the mask, the respirator, the goggles, the face shield in lieu of mask, in lieu of goggles, the gloves. If you're wearing a gloves, tuck the gloves under the cuff, securely attached. Now, how do we undo or probably remove the PPE? Since gloves are considered the most contaminated compared, first thing and the foremost thing that needs to be removed in your PPE should be your glove. Discard it. The gown can then be removed by handling the portion of the gown that the gloves were on the top. The most distal proportion of sleeves, as this proportion will be considered absolutely clean. After removing the PPE, discard immediately. Prevent further contamination in the clean area. Always remember to perform hand hygiene as much as possible immediately after PPE. If you can wash your hand thoroughly, well and good. Better if you can take a bath. Absolutely must thing. So that makes you almost. So removing PPE in an area where you are not in danger, exposures to the infectious agent, such as a separate room, a porch, a garage, an entryway, the identifies the clean areas and contaminated areas of PPE. Remember, clean areas have not been in contact with the infectious agents. Contaminated areas, on the other hand, has been in contact with the infectious agent. So we need to demarcate these clean areas and the contaminated areas. Clean areas, again I reiterate, it does not or it has not been in touch with an infectious agent, or probability is very less. On the other hand, contaminated, the probability is higher. What which are the areas? It's your hand probably that can be in contact with the. So removing the PPE, first and the foremost thing, remove your gloves first. Second, your goggles or face shield. Then follow your gown, your apron, your coverall. Next would be your mask and hair covers. Last it would be your mask, which we go around it. So again, repeat in the order of priorities: gloves, goggles, gowns, shoe, and mask. So with this thing, we come to know what exactly needs to be kept in mind as far as workplace safeties are concerned. Remember, workplace safety, the supplies is all about hand hygiene. All restrooms should have hot water supply. It should be provided with soaps and paper towel for proper cleaning of your hand. Hand sanitizer should be available to all visitors, to all staff placed in the entrance, the desk, the hallway, the staff lounge, and the waiting area. This is what we are looking in. So post visual alert, what is going around it is to have these signs in place as to what are the things that needs to be taken care of at every place if possible, and definitely at the point of nodes and internodes where there is absolute congestions of in terms of movement of people. Let's say the restroom, the elevators, the cafeteria. This gives you an opportunities for the visitors to read those instructions in their relevant languages, about the respiratory hygiene, about the cough etiquette, and so on. So, providing PPE in workplace, inform the staff of the type of PPE or personal protection equipment that are available in the premises, where they are located, how can they access it, need to be told to them. This has to be, remember, the personal protection equipment should be stored in a secure location, but should be easily accessible by staff when needed. A policy should be devised to track PPE use, when to replace PPE supplies, and how to properly dispose of using the personal protection equipment. With this, I come to an end of this presentation. Thank you for watching this video.